Hello, my name's Rob Myatt. I'm going to be reading from Outsize, the award-winning debut by Sophia Merwald. We'd have found ourselves a better hiding place if we'd known. If we'd known, we wouldn't have put down roots. We'd have soared joyously up into space and used parasols for brooms. We'd have held our breath and suddenly found we could hold it for longer than usual. We'd have packed our worries into bricks and walled ourselves in, if we'd known. We'd have bricked up our throats and loosed our hands. If we'd known, we'd have gone to live in a hut deep in the woods where the greatest dangers would have been the wild boar and the tumbling of dead timber. We'd have crushed intruders the way a snake can. We'd have sworn we'd never meet up with anyone that at least two of us hadn't met before. We'd have taught ourselves screams, and the screams would have been our language. If we'd known, we'd have screamed exclusively in vowels. We'd have banned consonants and used our screams to scare. We'd have understood our screams like the whales whose cries are called song. We wouldn't have stopped screaming, not ever, as a warning, because the danger was always there, because a pause would have meant a period of time. We'd have been safe as houses, and would surely have stayed. We'd have built a new cabin out of new logs, because the where wouldn't have mattered all that much. Maybe we wouldn't even have called it a hiding place. We'd have screamed it, world. Maybe, when the head is threatened and builds itself a place to hide, it seals the threat inside with it. Maybe heads deceive when threatened. Maybe costumes bear their faces. Maybe they shove, strike and stab. Maybe they snuff at shit and spit, making them wary of themselves. Maybe they put bugs on their bedside tables, in their voice box and on their tongues, and swallow them, and cameras too, in their bathrooms. Maybe they keep internal records, holding onto them like weapons and knowing which animals their skin belongs to. Maybe they convey themselves outwards and inwards. Maybe we surely would have stayed if we'd screamed as scrawled there in a hidey hole where we stretch out our weapons, arms, skins, joints rolling, heads parading, brains sweating, but could never bear it all. Nana Crystal stepped into the sunlight on an empty plot of land and looked around. Silos pointed up to the sky, on the earth only their shadows. She saw herself, a speck on this great expanse, and imagined what it would be in time. Far off in the distance, to her left and to her right, industrial warehouses kept watch over the land. They looked as if they were about to collapse. They wouldn't last much longer under their own steam. They needed a stable centre, and Nana Crystal was going to provide just that. She was the first one who could see something on this wasteland, even though there was nothing there. Nothing bloomed, nothing blossomed, only the certainty within her that she had found fertile soil. Nana Crystal knew that the only way this place would ever be something was if she did it herself. There was no one out there who was in tune with this land, who wanted this left behind in their possession. It wasn't important, and therein lay the opportunity. Nana Crystal looked around again, then began digging up the wasteland on this shorn industrial brownfield. Deep tractor ruts ran across the ground ahead of her. The time when someone had once been here had left behind hardship. The rain in recent days had made a go of softening up the earth. Mud, tread, mud, shrub, eyes, tussocks dotted about. There was nowhere for a creature of any description to hide out here. Out here, setting foot on the open ground meant exposing yourself, no exceptions. It was land that pushed downwards, pressed into the bowels of the earth by its own toxic legacy. Nana Crystal had hands that she could massage even the toughest substrate with. She was building something no one believed was possible, a house that defied the ground. On the wasteland, the city existed back to front. Nana Crystal pictured her land far away from bloodsuckers, at the centre of this remoteness. At the beginning, there was the uncivilized nothingness the cities feared. It was no place to live, this industrial area, that much was clear. But it was also clear that Nana Crystal didn't care one bit. There was no name for this spit of land. The unhabitation wasn't official. In the minds of the city, it signalled danger. Nana Crystal thrust her toes into the soil and stood up tall, protruding like a banner. She called the wasteland what it was, a field of woe. Woe field, that's what it was, where no harm would come to a single daisy, a single ant, not here. Nana Crystal took only what she needed, what no one else would give her. She planted the old trees first, felling them by the side of the motorway and planting them in Woefield. It was important for Nana Crystal that the trunks be old. They can hack it, she said. I'm old, and no one's ever thought I could hack it, but I always have. Then she fetched Bruno, her lover, her friend, the oldest of all the ungraftable trees. He was at once thick-trunked and flittish, and he hated it when others talked about him. I don't like it. They ought to keep their mouths shut. Always stitch me up, they do. Bruno was a gymnast. If we had a horizontal bar, I'd spend all days just doing taps, circles, hip swings, body swatches. I don't remember what it's called. Because we don't have a horizontal bar, no one can see how good I am. So they just talk shit about me. I hate them, the lot of them. That wasn't true. Bruno loved Nana Crystal and she loved him. She loved him subdermally all the way down through all the layers of the fat, skin, water, eclectora, sure as eggs. Bruno had anger and he had back trouble because he didn't have a bar, either crow or horizontal. He lit fires a lot of the time because it felt good to burn something now and again, plus a little bit of smoke inhalation made him sleep better. He thought about dangerous fires and what he would take with him if one ever broke out. I've got a handle on it though, my precious fire. I've got a handle on it best I can. And if things ever get too hot, I'd grab me drawer like this, look, shoop, out you come. And it's got everything in it, me cutter tool, the coins from me dad, the ones he melted himself and pressed his thumb into, so it's worth way more because he's no longer... What else will I take? Obviously this pick of me mam, me dad painted that as well, and this necklace. Found it by the side of the road one day, figured maybe I could get something for it, but turned out it wasn't worth nothing. And in the end, I lugged it round with me so long that all of a sudden it was too valuable. I didn't want to ever give it away, you know. If you're not careful, you can wind up forming sort of connection. Might not even be a good one, hey, but what are you going to do? So, shoop, draw out, always be ready, yeah, else you find yourself wanting for something you prefer not seeing a fire, innit? Nana Crystal built and built, by night more than by day. She built without any safety net, sitting on Bruno's shoulders most of the time, stealing meters. She built a house of superhuman proportions, one that towered above their heads. Not one of those city high-rises where all you could do was spit onto the balcony below. More one that made your spit fly, equal parts castle and keep. Solid walls, a steep roof, huge windows next to minute ones. It was going to have loads of rooms, all nested inside one another, but also connected, so that you could just pop your head in on a neighbour any time, no matter where you were. Nana Crystal weighed each rock in her hands, stacking them one after another over and outwards. Most of them didn't fit together. They weren't designed to hold up a house of this size, or any house for that matter. In the beginning there was only sun and moon to light their progress. It pained Nana Crystal to look at her hands. She preferred to tuck her slender fingers into a thick pair of gloves rather than deal with her grazes. She turned her eyes skywards to gaze on what had blossomed from her mind, and sensed the way she was straightening herself up. The multi-story house had grown so high it could almost cleave the heavens in two with its gable. Nana Crystal, it was true, was still nothing but a speck on the vast expanse of Wofield, but soon she would be at home in something greater. She didn't want someone to look after her if she got ill or fell into a coma. She was building herself a house so that she would know where it was she was going to die. But she still had at least 2.5 lives to go before that. Either that or she would never die, only her avatar would, like in a video game. No one was watching, and yet Nana Crystal felt observed in her illegal attempt to build a home. And then there it was, the first iteration of the house. The topping out ceremony was quite the occasion, hanging upside down in the rafters. For the first time, Bruno had the horizontal bar he so desperately wanted. Suspended overhead, his body upended, the blood flowed downwards. He showed off a few pull-ups and Nana Crystal applauded. They finished off the roof with tiles. The sandwich house was a place to eat, drink and be merry in. Just picture it. Can you picture it, Bruno, what we've created? He looked at the house, his eyes bulging so that he could take in their creation in its entirety, and that was all the confirmation she needed. Welcome to the fallacy of illegal. Welcome to the fallacy of a home that's meant for the market.